powers, these two values, apart from being non-zero game values, that is, they become thicker when you spread them. When you share them, you become more powerful. These are also more critical in giving us the other three powers. These three powers are actually subservient to these two powers, though it doesn't seem so. In our day-to-day life, it doesn't seem so. Today, we think that the economic power is the most important power. Fuck it, man. Fuck it. It is not. Economy is a subset of our social set, our society, which itself, of course, is a subset of the natural ecosystem. But economy cannot exist if society cannot exist. But society can exist even if economy doesn't. It may not be a very comfortable society. It may not be a very thing-rich society, but it could very well be a happy society. Right. So these are the 5 sets of powers, 5 kinds of powers, and from them 5 kinds of values that emanate. Now, you figure out what is your value mix. And I think you will also have, you will find that you also have the power to change that mix. It's not something which you're born with. It's not something which always stays with you as it is. So for me, for example, organizational power used to be more important when I was working for HP India. I still remember, for me at one point in time, it was very important that I move up from, say, senior manager to the level of head, to the level of director. And that consumed me day and night. Today, it's not that important what level I exist in any organization. Today, my mix is, I don't know, I guess 10, 20, 25% economics or the cumulative power, the cumulative value, the value of money. Maybe some 5-10% organizational power, maybe some 2-3% coercive power. Total, I'm pretty sure that they don't constitute more than 30% of my value mix. Thereby, they don't constitute more than 30% of my power mix that I do exercise. Right? I may have more, for example, more clout in terms of the money I have, but I don't exercise it to that extent. It is important for me because it helps me survive. It makes my ends meet. But the chunk, the biggest chunk, the 70 to 80% chunk of the value that I have, the things that or the non-things that I value, is these two: knowledge and love. And since I can extend them almost at will, I can extend and increase my happiness almost at will. So, figure out for your value or what your value mix is. Ask me. We can work on that. Call me. We can work together and we can figure that out. Yeah. From the happiness perspective, if you have to increase your happiness, first of all, you have to figure out whether what you really want to do in life, what you really want to be in life is happy. Figure that out. Whether happiness is your end goal. For me, it is. And I think it is also for people who think some of the other things are more important. Any of these. But guess what? You want to become more and more powerful because you want to be happy. If you're miserable exercising that power, if you're miserable being powerful, would you want to be powerful? I don't think so. Think about it. Therefore, being happy is definitely more important than any of the other values. And this is the value mix that actually makes you happy. Figure out what this value mix is for you. Then look at the powers, because you have to maximize those powers to get those, to maximize those values or increase those values. Thereby become happier. Simple. Now, coming back to my Sathi colleagues or any colleagues from any NGO, why do we work on any health matters, TB or HIV or whatever? We work on that not just because we want to increase the quantity of the lives of other people, but because we want to increase the quality of their lives. Think about it for yourself. I do. So say for example, would I prefer to live 10 years in full control of my faculties, or 200 years, I'm talking about from now on, 10 years with full control of my faculties as it is right now, or 200 years being a quadriplegic starting today? I think the answer is everyone knows for themselves. I don't want to live 1 second not being in control of my faculties. Not 1 second. So quantity is not important. Quantity of quality living is important. Therefore, we must work towards that. Therefore, we must also choose which of these. See, we are not into coercive power. That I know. All of us want a reasonable amount of money that is good enough for our survival. But what about organizational power? Don't we want our organization to become more and more powerful? Don't we want within the organization to become more and more powerful? Think about it. All of us need to think about it. Think about it from the perspective, do you actually share your power? Do you actually share your organizational power, or only tell yourself that you share? Think about it. This is a very critical thing, because if you are only convincing yourself that you are sharing power, sharing organizational power, but not really doing it, you are doing a disservice to your organization. You are doing a disservice to yourself. You are playing a zero-sum game, and you're playing on zero-sum value, which will perforce limit your happiness and limit the happiness of people around you, and limit the amount of cooperation you can get. Unless you give love, you won't get love. So, my colleagues at Sathi, my nephews, my nieces, my students, and everyone who has watched this far, please think about that. Please think about that. I want you to be happy, because the happier that you are, the happier I am. Because this is at least 40 to 50% of my value system. Your happiness. Because my love to you means you should be happy. You should get love. And spread that love. I don't know if I have been able to speak my mind without upsetting you, but I apologize to you if I have upset any of you. All I want is for you to be happier and remain happier, forever happier. Be happy.